latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So Kash Patel confirmed as America's new FBI director. 51-49 was the vote. Murkowski and Collins voting against Patel. Of course. Democrats. It's interesting, 51-49, nearly a party line vote, as compared to the confirmation votes for some recent FBI directors you may have heard of. Christopher Wray confirmed 92-5.
Oh, really?
Jim Comey confirmed 93-1. Bobby Mueller confirmed 98-0.
Oh, zip.
Well, I'll tell you what, that says a lot about maybe where the FBI was and where it is today, and the newfound skepticism, unfortunately, but it's warranted, of the FBI among so many on the right. And the fact that Kash Patel isn't the acceptable institutional man that previous FBI directors were, and perhaps that frightens many other institutional men and women inside the Beltway. It's about damn time, as far as I'm concerned. So what do we want Kash Patel to get busy doing straight away? Well, let's have that conversation with our friend James Gagliano. He's a retired FBI supervisory special agent and a doctoral candidate in Homeland Security at St. John's. He also serves as the mayor of the village of Cornwall-on-Hudson in New York and on the board of directors of the Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund. James Gagliano, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan and Amy, it's good to be back with you guys. How cold is it in Chicago? Because here in New York, it's pretty cold.
It's cold, but it's going to be warmer this weekend. It's going to be in the 30s, so there you go.
Oh, well, you got that to look forward
to. And I'm sure it feels like a cold day in hell for Adam Schiff in D.C. these days. What is your viewpoint on Kash Patel and that very narrow confirmation vote?
Sure, and Dan, to add on to how you opened the segment, let's go back to the other two directors I served under, William Sessions, who was the director, I believe, from 1987 to 1993, and Louis Freeh, who was the director from 1993 to 2001, right before 9/11. Mm-hmm. Both of them were unanimously confirmed by the Senate. You mentioned Mueller and Comey. Also, Christopher Wray, who was confirmed during Trump's first term, was confirmed with a vote of 92-5. We've lost our mind. You mentioned the 51-49. Obviously, Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, they're the reliably swing votes, if you will. When I spoke to you last time, and I think it was a month or so ago, and you'd asked me what my thoughts were on Mr. Patel, I said, look, I'm an agnostic, and I'm going to remain an agnostic until I've done a little bit more research. I did sign on to a letter a couple of weeks ago during his confirmation hearing that a group of retired FBI agents that's called the Reform the Bureau sent to Congress, and Senator Grassley actually read part of that at Mr. Patel's confirmation hearing. Everything that I've done to research him, all the people that I've talked to that have worked directly with him, tell me he's the right guy. And the people that tell me that are people that I've worked closely with and I trust. So I think it's a good day for the FBI. Look, as Kash said a few things that I'm sure he regrets now. And, well, I said this, it was hyperbolic. I said I was going to shut down FBI headquarters on day one, close the 7th floor, which is where all the bosses and the directors sit, turn it into a museum to the deep state. He was being hyperbolic. I don't sense any of that's going to happen now. I think he's going to get to work, and I'm glad that he got confirmed yesterday.
Well, what should be his number one priority when he takes over?
Great question, Amy. Number one priority, returning direct oversight of FBI investigations to the field. No longer allow them to be controlled out of headquarters. Do we need a headquarters? Absolutely. Nobody thinks that, independent FBI officers, there's 56 of them across the United States, should do everything completely independently. But what we learned during that crazy crossfire hurricane period of the Russian collusion hoax was FBI headquarters and those bosses there should not be overseeing cases. And I think Kash has made that patently clear that that's going to be his first order of business.
What about reviewing some of the investigations past and perhaps providing more disclosure on what did or didn't happen, for example, say with the Hunter Biden laptop investigation?
Dan, that's fair. Now, I think he's got a needle to thread here, and I'm not a nuanced guy, as you know. I'm a cudgel guy usually, but when it comes to how we've got to reform the FBI, how we've got to look at some of the mistakes and the politicization that took place during the last 4 years, and beyond that, during Trump's term as well, I think we've got to be careful. I don't think the American people are looking forward to a bloodletting or, hey, we've got to, fire thousands of people. I'm pretty confident that is not going to happen, but I do believe that things will be made public. There will be a lot more transparency, and you mentioned the Hunter Biden laptop. Yes, I think we need to understand why that was kept under wraps. Now, the FBI is not in the business during an investigation of publicly discussing the details. But the fact that those 51 intelligence community folks were allowed to use their letter to smack it down and to help Joe Biden get elected in 2020, I think that needs to be discussed. And I think there needs to be some lessons learned that needs to be put up in that. But look, he's got to look forward. He can't look backwards right now. The American people want him to do that.
Well, although I'm not saying a red wedding, but the idea that if there are still some bad actors in the FBI or people who did bad things, or they may be retired now, like that one agent that was running interference allegedly for Hunter Biden, trying to slow walk that investigation. I mean, if there's disclosures that need to be made now that that investigation is complete, so that the American people have a fuller picture of what happened, warts and all, then I think that would be appropriate, and I think it would be something that would be of interest to the American people, as would some cases that he's inherited that seem to have been slow walked, like Marsha Blackburn, senator from Tennessee, has made a big issue of the Epstein file, the Epstein investigation, the Epstein black book. And, you've got Ghislaine Maxwell serving a 20-year prison sentence at present for essentially human trafficking. And yet we don't have any clients. We don't have any people that were partaking in the human trafficking. So that seems odd, and people want answers to those questions. And Patel has committed to working with Blackburn on that. So cases like that, too, to me, seem important in terms of sort of restoring the credibility of the FBI as getting to the bottom of these things in a timely manner, as timely as possible, and providing information as you can along the way to bring the American people along in the process.
No, great point, and I appreciate your Game of Thrones reference.
Thank you.
Yeah, the
Thank
Red
you.
Wedding. Yes, that was a good one.
He worked all day on that
one. Yeah, that was a good one. I don't sense that coming. There are a lot of folks that are out there hoping for a bloodletting, a red wedding, if you will. That's not what needs to be done here. But yes, and I know Senator Blackburn. I've been on her podcast a couple of times, and she has zeroed in on this. The transparency perspective of this, learning lessons from what happened and fixing that so it never happens again. The men and women, the vast majority of the men and women of the FBI are good and decent and wonderful patriots, and you've never maligned them on your show. I've listened. You understand that this is a top-down organization. The FBI director is a political appointee. There's no doubt about that. But Kash has got to pick a deputy director, somebody who is an active 1811, somebody who's made cases, been in the trenches, and put that person, him or her, in a position to guide the day-to-day operations. And then he's got to do what you're talking about. Go back figure out where we went off the rails. When I was in the FBI, no credit to me, the FBI enjoyed a 70 to 80% favorability rating with the American public. Guys, it is down below 50%. Now, we can whistle past the graveyard, and we can pretend that, oh, it's just, politicians that are hurting us, and it's the media, and it's this, that, and the other. Or we can take a long, hard look in the mirror, and that's what I trust Mr. Patel is going to do on day one, which is today.
Well, the names for deputy director, somebody that he should be partner up with?
Oh gosh, I could. There's certainly a long list of people. Now, could you go outside of the bureau, get a retired agent to do that? Possibly. And again, I'm not shilling for anybody. I know a lot of people that are supremely qualified for that position, but it can't be somebody. The problem in the FBI happened. It began under Robert Mueller. I have great respect for him. He was a Vietnam War veteran. Awarded the Bronze Medal with V device. He served for 12 years as FBI director. I got great respect for him, but he made the mistake of trying to figure out a way to encourage people to go to Washington, D.C. and become part of the promotional change, and he rewarded young agents who didn't have any expertise in the field. And let's just say the Chicago field office. Somebody comes in, gets hired, they work 2 years in Chicago. They don't even know where the bathrooms are in the federal building, where the coffee machine is, and they go to headquarters and they get into this loop. They go back and forth between the Baltimore office, the Washington field office, and headquarters, and basically spend their entire career at headquarters. That has to change. So yes, Amy, there's a long list of people. Trust me, we could be here for hours with me saying this person would be good, that person would be good. But I know people close to Mr. Patel, and they are in there and talking about the ones that should be considered.
Maybe a James Gagliano?
Well, let's not get carried away, okay? I'm in a good position. I got 50 days left in political office. I got to finish my doctorate at St. John's. I'll get back into academia, but yes, I'm certainly not averse to providing some outside help. But trust me, there's people much more qualified, much smarter than me, and I hope he makes that right decision.
Well, that's the encouraging thing is that letter you mentioned that you're a signatory on that Grassley read at the confirmation hearing, with those retired FBI agents that want to see the FBI reformed and return to, sort of past standards and respect in the public eye. I mean, that seems to me like a good group for Kash Patel not only to select from in terms of potential posts within the agency, but also to lean on for advice and counsel, to be a sounding board for some of the structural reforms that he may be considering.
Yeah, and look, you guys are young. The FBI's been around for 117 years. In that 117 years, Mr. Patel is the 9th Senate confirmed FBI director. Yes, we've had acting directors or non-Senate confirmed directors for a period of time, but you got to remember we really kind of gained our motion in going forward under Director Hoover, who served for 48 years, from 1924 until 1972. We recognize that was far too long. That was 48 years. We recognize that we made a lot of mistakes, especially during the civil rights era. COINTELPRO, your folks can listen to it, look that up. But at this juncture right now, where we are, major changes need to be made. And when I say major changes, not with the rank and file FBI agents who are working in the Chicago Metropolitan Field Office right now. It's at the top, and I trust that Mr. Patel. Remember, I was an agnostic. I am a supporter now, and that's why I signed on to the letter, Dan, that you just mentioned. And I trust that he makes the right decisions, because remember, it's not the leader; it's who the leader surrounds themselves with. And I hope that he picks the right people.
James Gagliano, retired FBI supervisory special agent. Finishing up his doctoral thesis in Homeland Security at St. John's. He's also the mayor of the village of Cornwall-on-Hudson in New York and on the board of directors of the Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund. Jim Gagliano, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Good to talk to you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think